Welcome back to the dream. I know it's been a while since my last video. Obviously I'm going through quite a bit of health stuff, so I apologize for that, but I'm still putting out videos. I have a ton of videos that I have to edit and get out to you guys. That probably won't happen for a little bit, but I figured I'd do a quick little video on this 1990 Honda Foreman Fourtrax 350. This machine specifically was given to me by my dad, and we had it for a while, and then we sold it to our landlords who own a farm, and they're getting a ton of use out of it, and they absolutely love it. This thing is a tank. So I guess at some point a couple of weeks ago, after a big snowfall, it had been sitting for a while because she doesn't use it when there's a ton of snow, and it had been sitting for a while and she was having trouble starting it. So I went to try to help her. I couldn't get it going, and so I brought it here. One of the videos that I haven't edited or put out yet is this shed, this 12 by 16 shed, which hopefully we're going to do a lot of videos in. There's still a lot of work to be done to it, but it is usable right now. So yeah, so we brought this machine back here, and we found out what was wrong with it. We fixed it. It was great. All I did was just sprayed a little bit of quick start into the air filter, and it fired right up. When I cracked the box for the air filter, I'll try to remember to put a picture of it here, but keep in mind that the picture I'm going to put up was taken after I took a huge two-handed clump out of the box. So it was even worse. There's also stuff underneath it, but you can understand why it was running a little rich, which is why we thought it needed a carb clean and all that kind of stuff. But we have a new air filter that we're going to put in it. We did a carb clean. It wasn't necessary, but we went through it just to make sure. It looked like somebody already did a carb clean to this. When we took the carb apart, before we actually got to the, I don't know what it's called, I'll try to put it up here, but where the choke jet goes into the carb, that part that normally would screw into the carb itself, the carb housing, basically just came out. This is one of the things that led us to believe that it might have been cleaned before, because all the threads were stripped and it was just kind of resting in there. So as soon as we took the carb out, it just popped right out. So we have a new, whatever it's called, choke cable and assembly and jet and all that kind of stuff. I think everything's really good on it, so I think we're just going to replace that one little plastic. It's a plastic threaded piece that goes in there. One of the screws or the bolts that was going into the bowl of the jet had been stripped, which is another reason why we thought it might have been taken off previously. And then when we opened it up, it was spick and span. It was totally clean. So again, led us to believe that it had been cleaned before, considering this is a 1990. And my dad didn't drive it a ton. When he had it, he just used it for yard work and that kind of thing. And then when we had it, I knew absolutely nothing about four-wheelers or fixing them or anything like that. I still don't know a lot. But we didn't use it a ton either. We just kind of used it for the odd yard work and that kind of stuff. I think we took it for a small run up behind our house, and then we took it for like an 80-kilometer run with Stacy's parents, who you know from the channel, Ken and Laura. So on the docket for today, we're going to put the air filter in, and we're going to put this little plastic piece into the choke cable, and we also have back there a fuel filter that we're going to put on as well. Previously, we checked to make sure the carb was good. We took the air filter out, and her gas cap wasn't latching properly. It was seized, so normally you push down and it locks, and then you turn the thing to unlock it. But when you push down on it, it doesn't matter how hard you push, it wouldn't lock. We fixed that just with a little bit of, I think, rust check, the green rust check, basically WD-40. There was a couple of cracks in the fuel line, so we just cut that a little bit. back to where it wasn't cracked. We might have to replace that, but I don't think so. We tried another fuel filter that's not designed for the specific machine. It did not work. We gave it an oil change. If you're wondering how to do an oil change, I have a video on this channel. It's not a great video. Speaking of great videos, I don't know if you noticed yet or not, but I invested in a pretty decent mic. So hopefully, I have a way better mic, but I'm having difficulties trying to figure out how to use it. So as you know, if you're watching every video on this channel, you've seen me try to use it multiple times and fail every time. So hopefully this mic is a little bit better. I don't know if I have it placed in the right area, so bear with me, but I'm just using my iPhone and setting it up that way. She's got a rear seat cargo thing. I'll put her back on. I'll give it a wash for her. But this thing is in immaculate shape. It's in really, really good shape. I'll try to give you a quick video here. And I think the weather stripping on this box is a little messed up, so I'll try to fix that for her. Stay tuned on the channel. I want you to subscribe. If you like the video, feel free to hit like. If you dislike it, hit that thumbs down button. Feel free to share it. I want you to subscribe to the channel so you can be one of the first people to be notified when I put out more content. We have a 1986 Yamaha Moto 4, which, again, if you're not new to the channel, you've seen it before. But we're going to do a ton of work to that coming up pretty soon. So if you don't want to miss out on that, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and yeah. So this is pretty self-explanatory. There's this little mounting bracket goes on here with a little bolt, and there's a little hose clamp that goes on here, and then this along with the foam part comes right out. Our foam part is in the garbage, and it just twists off on this. There's no nut, it just twists off and on that little threaded rod. And we're going to take, oh, that was the other thing, there was quite a few bolts and stuff missing, so we replaced them all. We're going to take this one, and this one, and this one, and this one out, and we'll also loosen up these. And these are loosened, then this whole tube will come out. So I took this one, and this one, and this one. Just be careful because your ground is hooked up there. And then this one. This should just pull out. Yep. And there's a little piece there that you gotta be careful of. It just slides in there and out. And this should just peel back enough. Oh, sorry. We didn't need to take this one off. Yeah, we can put that guy back in. Sorry, I'm learning here too. So this one doesn't come off. This is actually the one I was thinking of. This ground goes underneath that bolt. That's the one that has to, you gotta make sure you hook that ground back up. But right now we're gonna take this one, and this one, and this one. And then this bracket should come off. And we're also gonna loosen up these two clamps and these two clamps. And then I think this big hose piece should slide back and out. So this is the one I was talking about right here. And that ground just comes off. And then this whole piece slides out. So now you can see our carb and the tube. We'll just take those two screws out, these two, and then that should slide back and out. So hopefully we loosen these up enough that this should just slide right out like so. We already checked it, it's nice and clean inside. And then this is our carb. This is actually, hang on a second, and I will get a flashlight. So this is the part that I was talking about right in here. that is just basically sitting in there. Slides right out, and all these threads are stripped on this plastic part here. But everything else is good on this, so we're just going to try to replace this. But we'll have to take the spring and the jet off first, I think. I forget how we did this last time. Take the jet off, like that. And then the spring slides out. So this is the choke cable here. And you can tell it's working. And this piece, I don't really know, but I think this part I'm going to have to study a little bit more, I think, on how to get that off. Might have something to do with this here. Maybe if I push that in, I don't know. I'm going to check. This is the new choke cable. Obviously it's a little different. It's a plunge choke as opposed to a slider. But we're not going to use that. This part. So this one is a little bit different. So before I go anywhere and do anything, I'm going to make sure that this new one threads into the carb. So where we took that one out of, to make sure that it's the same size and that the threads inside the carb aren't stripped. I don't know if it is the right size. It's darn close, but I don't know if it is. Yeah, I don't think that's the right size. Yeah, it's just a tad bigger. The new one is just a smidgen bigger. It goes into the slot, but it won't fit in the threads. Man, that is close. But that is not going to go. Well, that sucks. So that one's not going to work. So, that was indeed the wrong part, but I think I found the right one. It's a little bit more expensive, not by much. In the meantime, I'm going to try to figure out how to get this off. Once that new part comes, we have to wait until Friday, unfortunately. And once we get that, we will put it all back together. But I can put the new air filter on. So I'm going to just... This is the little stub side that has that threaded rod. We're going to put the threaded rod end inside here first. And there's a little tiny hole there that it should, there's a little tiny hole there that it should come out. So we're just going to slide this in here. Like so. And just look for that threaded rod. Push that out through there. And then we're just going to try to feed this up and over this. Obviously make sure your hose clamp comes off or is loose. Some people will say put a little bit of oil on there. Can make it easier, I guess. Just like that. And like that. So it'll look something like this. And then there's mixed reviews. Some people will say buy special foam filter oil, spray it all over the foam, and then massage it in. I checked with a really good mechanic that loves doing off-road stuff, and he's very good at it. He basically said It doesn't really matter. The special stuff is a little bit more tacky, so it can theoretically work a little bit better. But any WD-40, rust check, any of that stuff will do the trick for the most part. It's just something to catch a little bit of the dust and debris before it seeps into the foam. So we're going to take his advice and we'll give this a nice little coating. I don't know, hopefully you're seeing that. We'll just kind of lightly massage that in there. Just like so. And first we'll put this on, just like that. And then slide this down here, over like that. Make sure it's getting tight. And then we'll tighten this up. Make sure that stays up against that like that. So it'll look something like that. Oops. So basically all I did was put the steel cage inside the foam. Make sure this threaded rod comes out through that hole. I sprayed it with just rust check and then put this clamp on. I'm going to take this, put this welded on nut like this. And just wind them onto the threaded rod, like so. There. And then I'm going to take them, slide them on there. Just like that. Make sure that this is as far forward as you can go. Make sure that this is accessible. Again, make sure you're pressed up nice and tight. And then we'll just put the screw in there, the bolt or whatever. And we'll tighten this guy down. Keep making sure he's nice and tight. So it'll just look like this. So we have to wait until we get our starter valve plunger kit to thread in there properly. This piece here. But I'll put this back on just lightly so that nothing gets into the carburetor. But we can work on the fuel filter. So this is a little bit of a nightmare to try to get out. But it should come out fairly easily. This is the fuel filter. Right now, the fuel's on. It's pretty low, and the tank is pretty low in fuel right now. I don't think it'll matter too much, but we're going to switch it to off. This is a new clamp that I put on for her because the other one was junk. This is also the part of the fuel line that I clipped because it was cracked. So just take that clip back. And pull that off. This one's loosened already, so we'll just pull that off. And then we'll just take this rubber housing off, slide out. Lots of mud and junk. I don't know if this has ever been changed. I have no idea. But if you look at the new one, you can tell the difference. This one is very dark and nasty, and this one is light and brown. So we're going to switch those. Hi. Hey yo. Hey yo. Hi. That's a good girl. Did you go for a walk with Mom? You did. Good girl. Are you all wet? There is an arrow right there. It points this way, and that means you want that arrow going towards the carburetor. So the line comes in here from the gas tank and then goes out towards the carburetor. So you want to make sure that that arrow is pointing towards the line that goes to the carburetor, which is this guy. And I am going to squirt a little bit of rust check on there. Just to make it easier to slide on. This little clamp on. And make sure that's on there good and tight. I'll tighten up that clamp. So it's the same thing on both sides. There's a little lip here, and you want to make sure you get way past that, as close to here as you can, and then make sure that the clamp is nice and firm and tight on the hose so that it can't slide back over this little lip. And this one, oops. These little clips are terrible in my opinion. But what do I know? There. Make sure that's getting tight. Put that clamp on this side of that little hump. We should be good. Turn the fuel back to on. I might just leave that like that until we get that carburetor straightened away, because then we can do a test run before we shove this back inside there. I think that's what we'll do. So that's a brand new fuel filter on there, a brand new air filter on there, and we'll just wait until we can get that. So it's a few days later and we're back. We got our whatever it's called, choke plunger kit, starter valve plunger kit. It looks like it might be the same or similar, so I'm going to try to see if it'll fit. I have no idea how these come out, but this is the piece here that we're replacing. So basically all I'm going to do now is just make sure that this screws into that hole. And it fits. So that's good. Now, the only hiccup is I gotta figure out how to get that old one off the cable. This piece right here, I just pried, that was down inside. I just pried that up. Now we're gonna pull that little clamp out. And that's what it looks like. Put that there so I can lose it. And then this just slides right off. So we'll get our new plastic piece here. So this is the new one. Threads are much better. It basically slides right up and is stopped by this middle piece. So it slides right on and gets stopped by that middle piece. And then we'll take our little metal clamp here. We'll try not to lose it. We'll keep pressure on the plastic part so that it stays where it needs to, and then we'll just slide that clamp down and in. I'll just push it in a little further. And it's golden. We're good to go. So now all we have to do is slide this, whatever's called, like the rubber cap, I guess, over it. We didn't have to move the clamp on that one, so we just slid it back down the hose to cover over what we just did there. I don't know if you can see that or not. But this just slides down. So this rubber piece slides down over this plastic piece. And make sure your clamp is on it. So basically we're just going to take the spring, put it over the cable, and then we're going to take this guy with the jet pointed down, and we're going to slide the cable into the little hole there and then turn it. So I lost that little spring. It's gone forever. So we'll have to try this new one. And we'll try not to lose this one. But basically, you put the spring over the cable, and then you put that little, the end part of the cable through this little hole, and then turn the jet so that the cable is straight up and down with the jet. And then make sure your spring slides down on top of the jet. And that's it. That's all there is to it. I'm gonna take mechanic's advice and just put a little bit of clean motor oil on this to lubricate it. I just have some motor oil on my hand, and I'm just gonna wrap it around the jet, especially that little rubber seal. I'll wipe my hands, put this down into the hole, and then we'll thread that in. It's pretty hard to get in there with a wrench, and I don't really want to take the carb all the way back out. hand tight, which is all it really needs to be, I think. Now we'll just tighten these. This little secret passage. I wonder if there's a toolkit you can under here maybe? There is. There's a spark plug, an NGK. That looks like a used one. It's in pretty rough shape. It's pretty black. And the toolkit. That's pretty sweet. Japan Honda. Looks like the original tire pressure gauge. The pouch is still in good condition. Probably a spark plug remover. Looks like a 17 and a P for plug, probably 18. A hooker on her, a twister upper. I have no idea what those two things are. Probably to help you get some torque on it. 10 and a 14 wrench. HM. Another HM, and it's a 12 and an 8. Flathead screwdriver. Another HM set of pliers. And they all actually fit in there, which is nice. There's a back, just in case they ever need it while they're out and about. That's pretty slick. I like that. Just double check that nothing magically appeared in here. That's still good. It's still nice and oily. So we can clamp this up. We'll just put this bracket back on. I don't remember if it went this way. This way. I think it went this way. Yeah, so this little tab goes to the top, I think. This one, I don't know if you can see it or not really, but the bottom one, make sure you put this ground back on it. So the bolt will go through the ground like this, and then into the bracket and into the frame. And the rest of them just bolt the bracket directly into the frame. Tighten these up. And then these guys over here. Just those two little tabs here and right here. And underneath that other gray part. And this tab and this tab. There's little slots in the red plastics that those go into. These plastics back on. Leave this off. We'll leave the fuel filter out, and we'll try to fire it up and see if there's any fuel leaks or anything. So hopefully we don't scare Tika, but let's see if we can get this thing fired up. Fuel is in on position. I don't see any leaks since we last hooked it up, but choking. I'm actually going to take it for a little test drive. I'll put the seat back on and we'll take it for a little test drive. So as you can tell, runs very smoothly. It's perfect. Works great. This is 1990 Honda Foretrax Foreman. I don't know if it's a Foreman Fourtrax or if it's just a Foretrax that has a Foreman windshield on it. I have no idea. But original tires, apparently, and she's got this cargo box and a back seat / cargo box as well. But it's in immaculate shape for the year. So I'll put that back box on for her and she'll be good to go. So I actually forgot to mention that it has this, which is pretty cool. It obviously didn't have this when I had it, but it's pretty neat, especially because, especially at 6 feet tall, I find this machine very small, especially compared to what I'm used to, which is a 2021 Segway Snarler, which is a lot bigger than this. So yeah, you just push down, push up. It's just attached to the foot lever here. It's pretty neat, I think. I think she said she picked it up for pretty cheap. Probably on Amazon, I don't know. But anyways, we're gonna put this back seat on. It should look something like that. It'll look something like that. I don't know if she uses them or not, but these things are fantastic. I put these on when I had the machine, but they're fantastic. They're completely adjustable. They're great if you have a gun or chainsaw or fishing rod or whatever. You can place something in here and snug it up nice and tight. You can put bungee cords across. I think it comes with some sort of elastic strap that goes over it. This thing with a little light bar and a winch would be unstoppable. Thanks for watching.